All right, to start your install, you need to pop your bezel off. It just comes off as one assembly. I'm going to put your gear shifter into 6 if it's a manual, all the way down if it's automatic. This just kind of scoots out of the way. This guy right here. There we go. So even if it doesn't have gauges, you're still going to have traction control and a lighter plug power outlet right there. So you should have something there. There are 2 small 7mm screws that live down there.
A little higher than that. Perfect.
Take a pry tool, find a relatively good gap to get behind it, and as you see, it comes forward. You got 2 other clips, and to get it off, you bend it down and pull. Now there's going to be one more clip you got to get to. It's this white one on the back. All right, so you got 4 screws. I got 2 of them off already. Again, these are 7mm. And that holds technically the brain, the radio. All right, and that just comes forward. You got 3 main connections to get out of here. Antennas. And your main 44-pin connector. On some vehicles, if you're trying to fit a full double DIN, you may have to do some cutting back here. In this particular installation, we're using an L chassis. So as you can see, it's not a full chassis. Now this is our main harness. It's a LD 3010. Plugs into your 44-way connector. Locks into place just like the factory radio. For this installation, this particular car has Boston Acoustics amplification. That's what these resistor pads are for. So that is if you have an amplified car, you're going to want to use this connector. And for our rear speakers in that same harness, you're going to see these 2 sections of heat shrink. That is a resistor pad as well that makes it applicable for an amplified car. If you don't need these for your installation, you cut it here and you just splice directly to those leads. This 4-pin, just remove it and it plugs straight in. So we're going to go ahead and make our power and ground connections. These will not be found in your 16-pin plug. They are on the 3010. All right, now on this interface, because your Axxess WC is not built in, this isn't as critical to hit during this step. So you can hold off on that. Go ahead and connect up our radio. Then you need to grab your dash panel. And this is your Hvac harness for this particular car. Plugs in right here. All right. And this plug plugs into the white harness in the dash. Now there's a special thing you need to look out for. If your air conditioning and heating controls aren't working, most likely this connection was missed. Again, these are separate from the 16-pin. rear speakers off of the 3010 main harness. Set this up in the radio cavity for now. So we got two harnesses that we need to hit onto our interface box. It's a 16, this goes to your radio. It's a 22 pin, this one goes to the car. So we're gonna plug the 16 in first. All right, and before we plug in the 22, we need to get our HVAC panel up here, because as part of the programming process, we got to put the fan speed all the way up and all the way down. All right, and we're gonna plug in that 22 pin connector now. Light comes on, turn your key forward, wait for this to go green. All right, and that went green.
Can I see the green dot again? There you go. Yep.
And your radio is going to start to reboot.
Can I get one more green? I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'll hold that right there. 1 second.
All right, and then we're going to check our vents. So all the way up, all the way down, and off. All right, now before we shut the car off, we're going to program the ASWC. All right, and that's what our other little takeoff harness is. It is pre-wired. Tested our HVAC, everything's working. We can set our temperature, hot or cooler, lock and unlock, position. You'll hear those bellows change. It's the next thing we're going to talk about. If your chime is a little loud, you can adjust the chime volume with this little blue screw here. You can adjust that down to where you feel it's an appropriate volume. I use just a little flat blade and you twist. Twist like this. So clockwise louder, counterclockwise quieter. Right, and then one more to talk about here. And that's this wire here. This is black with the yellow stripe. This is for your Onstar volume, so when you activate her.
Hello and welcome to Onstar.
If she's a little loud, you can tap to ground.
Please press the blue Onstar button again. For complete instruction
to change her volume. Or if your vehicle has steering wheel controls,
located in this vehicle's glove box.
you can use the steering wheel control as well. Cancel Onstar. And that's the 3010. All right, so this is the 3028 install. Harness BXGM8. Got some takeoffs on here for your power ground accessories. This is also got your data wire. We'll get to that in a minute. And your speaker leads. So for your 16-pin connection, this is the one that goes to the radio, and I've already bunched it up, but we got some leads taken off here. This is for your backup camera, accessory power, battery, and your rear speakers. This particular application, this car that we're installing in has an amplified system. So you want to leave these in place as well on this car. The resistors that are inside of these heat shrink tubes. So we're just going to connect everybody up one for one. All right, normally your connections would probably be soldered but connected. We're doing this for ease of installation for video capture. Now in this car, the 28 comes with an antenna adapter. It is boosted, so we've got that here, and I've got that wired here. So it's a power antenna, but in the sense it's powered. It's amplifying the signal. And then that, I'm gonna connect to that guy. And we've got a I-beam backup camera for this vehicle. And we're just going to connect that to our reverse trigger and our output. All right, and for your front speakers, again, we're leaving the resistor pack in the car. But if you do not have an amplified system, you do want to remember to remove these. And I want to backtrack here. For a non-amplified vehicle, you want to cut here. This piece will be disregarded and make your connections to the car side plug. Built-in steering wheel controls for this. So we're going to connect up our 44-way plug. Make sure that's good. So you don't forget, take a moment and go ahead and plug in your steering wheel control to the remote port if your radio has a 3.5. Testing phases. Same goes for the 3028 as it did for the 3010. This area, if you're trying to put a full chassis radio in, will have to be cut. We're using a half chassis, and as you can see, it fits all the way in with no issues. Placing these screws in. (22-pin connection, 16-pin connection, corresponding connectors on the interface. So plug in your 16, plug in the 22, reboot, and we're waiting for green. Took a while on the last go around. I think the battery's starting to get a little weak. Green, radio should come back on, like so. And there we go. And back in your static, test your steering wheel controls. Which didn't reset the radio. And steering wheel controls work. Seek. Source. All set. We're going to plug in the dash panel, and we need to pay special attention to this pink wire here. This is what actually communicates with the vehicle for adjusting your heating and air. So we're going to plug that in. We're going to turn the vehicle back on. All the way up, as you can hear. It plugs into the back of the HVAC. Just, right there. And that is the 3010 HVAC harness. So when we initially program everything, it is important to pull your key, open the door, wait 30 seconds because that's going to allow the vehicle to send a health code. All right, so before you release the vehicle to your customer, you want to check the chime, and how we adjust that is with this little blue knob right here, little blue screw. So get the vehicle to chime. We're going to turn it on, open the door. Clockwise is louder, counterclockwise is quieter. Is that better or worse? And then reduce. Onstar. Alright, so to tune the Onstar volume, press the Onstar button. There she goes.
Hello and welcome to Onstar. For a demonstration of Onstar services, or
to make it louder or quieter, if you don't have steering wheel controls, there's a black wire with the yellow stripe. You just touch that to ground.
Including Onstar hands-free calling. Please check the reference materials located in this vehicle.
Or if your customer has steering wheel controls, they can adjust it on the steering wheel. Push it in, lock your clips. We're going to put our screws back in. We're going to plug this back through. Done. And just one more quick one through. Heated seats won't come on with it off. Hazards flash. Checking wrap. And you're done.